Sometimes, reporters go beyond boundaries and ask celebrities certain questions that can make anyone uncomfortable. But certain celebrities gave remarkable answers to these reporters that made them speechless. Want to know what the celebrities said and what these interviews looked like? Let's find out in the video. Let's begin! Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy was asked if he thought it was difficult for well-known people to discuss their love preferences. At first, he appeared perplexed and asked, "What are you talking about?" Something from an interview in a magazine was referenced by the person. Tom asked for more clarification to be sure he understood. Upon being asked if it's difficult for well-known people to talk about their sexuality, Tom responded, "Nope, not really." In response to the question about his romantic interests, he just said, "Yeah? Why?" and expressed gratitude. A reporter asked Tom Hardy about the ladies in Mad Max Fury Road, implying that the film was more geared at men. This was during a press event for the film. The response from Tom was, "No, not to me." For the reporters, his succinct but lucid response seemed to sum up the situation. Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. was once questioned by a reporter about his father and his prior battles with addiction. Robert asked, "What's going on here?" with a look of confusion. "They were merely chatting," the reporter claimed, but Robert responded, "Okay, bye." That issue was terminated by his succinct but direct response. Quentin Tarantino. Once, during an interview, Quentin Tarantino got into a heated debate with a reporter concerning the relationship between violence in movies and actual violence. It's similar to getting a behind-the-scenes look at how celebrities respond to challenging questions during interviews. "Hold up, what are we even doing here?" was Tarantino's response when the reporter began by questioning him about the relationship between his enjoyment of violent films and his liking of real violence. He was not interested in going into the subject further. He had no intention of using the opinions of others to defend his artistic choices. Tarantino became even more blunt as the reporter persisted, saying, "I'm not playing this game." He adamantly declined to follow the line of inquiry. He was very clear in saying that he wasn't there to follow the interviewer's lead. "I'm not here to dance," he declared, making a mark in the sand. It was evident how frustrated Tarantino was. He was sick of always bringing up the same old points of contention, saying, "I've already talked about this to death." He was eager to discuss something new, rather than continue to beat the same old drum. Tarantino maintained his position over the entire interview. Even when the reporter tried to use guilt trips to get him to defend himself in front of his admirers, he didn't move an inch. He shot back, "I don't owe you an explanation." He was a firm believer in artistic autonomy and would not listen to anyone who told him otherwise. The conflict between being an artist and being in the public eye was at the heart of Tarantino's altercation with the reporter. He would not be coerced into talks he thought were unnecessary or repetitious. Rather, he assumed command of the discussion and directed it in a way he desired. Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg was interviewed in a peculiar way by a reporter who was determined to learn the secrets of magic. But Jesse, in keeping lighthearted and amusing, turned the tables with his signature wit. The reporter persisted in pressing Jesse to divulge his magic talents, but Jesse never missed a beat. Jesse made a joke about the reporter forgetting that he worked with Morgan Freeman when he was questioned about a trick involving avoiding questions. His lighthearted reply was an attempt to defuse the situation and divert attention from the reporter's incessant probing. Throughout the conversation, Jesse avoided the reporter's questions by being funny. Jesse regarded the comparison to Carrot Top as a compliment at first, but to spare him embarrassment, he taunted the reporter by implying that she could cry after the interview. It was a deft move to keep things under control and turn the conversation in his favor. Jesse remained composed and in control, even if the reporter insisted on magic talk. He even did a card trick for her, but his nonchalant demeanor suggested he wasn't too concerned about winning her over. He was very clear that he would not be forced to do anything to please the interviewer. Jesse refused to give in to the reporter's insistence that she say her name on camera as the interview came to an end. His casual rejection demonstrated that he wouldn't feel compelled to perform, further solidifying his dominance in the interview setting. Jesse Eisenberg's conversation with the reporter was more than just a magic show. It was a master tutorial in charming and confidently managing difficult interviews. Jesse's ability to deflect and incorporate humor effectively hindered the reporter's attempt to divert the discussion, demonstrating his versatility as a shrewd media magician in addition to his acting prowess. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was questioned during an interview regarding his past transgressions, including his battles with alcohol, and a remark he made that was deemed to be anti-Semitic. The reporter was curious if these incidents had altered people's perceptions of him. Mel would have none of it. Asking no questions, he dismissed them by saying he had moved on and such things were in the past, and he prayed that others had. Mel avoided thinking about the bad things. Rather, he redirected the discussion to the reason he was there, which was to discuss his movie, Edge of Darkness. He ended the interview with a kind farewell, making it obvious he had no desire to repeat previous events. Mel didn't concentrate on his faults from the past. Instead, he focused on his career and the future. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise was questioned in depth over his previous romance with Nicole Kidman during an interview. Given their 10-year marriage, Peter, the reporter, questioned if Nicole was the love of his life. At first, Tom answered in a hazy way, saying that they had raised kids together. But Tom grew more reticent when asked about their connection in detail. Tom stated that he loved Nicole very much at the moment in response to Peter's persistent questions about his feelings for her. Tom politely conveyed his wish for Nicole's happiness when asked if he wanted her to get married again. But Tom got very indignant when Peter asked about the details of Tom and Nicole's current relationship. Tom claimed that their primary priority as a couple was co-parenting, and they both behaved professionally while talking about the other in public. Tom cut him short as Peter continued his questions, reprimanding him for going too far. Peter was in charge of his curiosity, he reminded him, and their chat was between them. Peter saw the tension rising and tried to retract his questions, admitting he might have been too direct. Tom acknowledged Peter's apologies, thereby concluding the awkward conversation. In this interview, Tom Cruise demonstrated assertiveness in setting boundaries with the reporter. Despite Peter's persistence, Tom remained composed and firm in shutting down intrusive questioning. By reminding Peter of the boundaries of their conversation and asserting his right to privacy, Tom effectively shut down the line of questioning and maintained control of the interview. Anne Hathaway. In an interview, Anne Hathaway received praise for being in good physical shape for her movie part. She had to put in a lot of effort to get this level of fitness, the reporter implied, especially considering her role as Catwoman. Anne made it clear that having the ability to execute stunts and fight scenes well was more important to her than having the ideal body. When questioned about the tight Catwoman outfit, Anne acknowledged that it was uncomfortable, but stressed the value of utility for her role. When the reporter asked about her exercise routine for the part, Anne answered honestly. Rather than using any complex or glitzy techniques, she characterized her routine as comprising simple duties like managing her food and going to the gym. Throughout the interview, the reporter appeared obsessed with Anne's physical attributes and her attempts to dress like Catwoman. Anne pushed back, challenging the reporter's motives, immediately recognizing the line of questions. She pointed out the boring and unglamorous parts of staying in shape, challenging the reporter's attention to her body. The reporter tried to shift the topic to Anne's body and attractiveness, but Anne effectively cut her off with her statement stating that he was also looking good. Was he going to the gym? Does he want to fit into the cat suit too? Just in Anne's way, she made the reporter quit. Can you also recall any such interview? Do share with us in the comment section below. If you enjoyed watching the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.